So we go in, and this arcade looks pretty alright. I mean, it's about as good of an arcade as you can expect to find in, you know, a random place in America. Like, there's not a lot of arcades in America, period. You know, like, you have to go to, like, New York City if you want to find a real arcade, which we are 8 hours away from that. But, like, so we go to this little arcade, and I'd say it's about on the level of, like, a Dave & Buster's arcade. You know, it's got a bunch of, like, it's got tickets. It's got a bunch of little ticket games, the ones where you fucking just, like, feed coins to a machine in the vain hope of getting more tickets, which you won't get enough to fucking, you know, get anything meaningful. But, like, there's a handful of cool games, but the coolest one, the centerpiece of this whole room, is this enormous Space Invaders game. But it is not your grandma's Space Invaders. This game it's on a humongous LED screen that goes, like, you know, I would say it's probably like 7 feet tall, like this huge LED, and it's got these guns, like, you know, like two-handled cannon guns. Like, you've got like a chair with a gun kind of game. And so we sit down in the chairs, and we got the guns, and it's $1 per person to play this game. So we exchange $5 for tokens, and we start feeding tokens into this machine, and it's not reading the tokens. Like, we quickly realize, oh shit, we just fed this thing $2, and it registers about 50 cents have been input, and we're, like, mashing on the buttons, and it registered 1 quarter, and it gave us back 50 cents when we were mashing the give me back my money buttons. So we're like, okay, this thing just ate $1.50. So immediately our expectations for this arcade plummet. We're like, okay, first of all, this is why no one's playing this game, what is obviously the coolest game in the arcade, because it doesn't fucking work. So we go over to the counter. There's like this, you know, 16-year-old dude working behind there, and May's like, hey, this game ate $1.50, and the guy's like, oh yeah, cool, I'll just put money in it. So he goes over and he just loads it up for us, and we're like, sick. So we get in the game, and yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's like, it's one of those where, like, the guns shake and everything, and, like, we're, like, instead of just being, like, whereas in real Space Invaders, you're like a little ship at the bottom of the screen, and you're shooting stuff up that's coming down in waves. Like, the stuff is still coming down in waves, and you're still defending your little things, but now you are a gun that can aim anywhere on the screen, like a light gun laser shooter. It kind of looks like a TIE fighter, like if you're playing one of the TIE fighter games. It looks like that, and we're shooting all these fucking aliens and shit. I mean, we probably lasted, like, a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes on this game before we got killed, but, like, it's pretty fucking cool. It's very flashy. Like, you hit bombs and they blow up a huge amount of the screen, and everything's fucking flashing colors everywhere. It's a pretty dope game once it actually worked. So after that, we're, like, wandering around, like, all right, what are we gonna put our money into now? We go over. There's one game that's like, there's one that's a Jurassic Park game that's like one of those, you sit in a booth and you shoot guns at stuff, and that one looked pretty alright. And then there was another game that was a pirate shooter that looked almost exactly the same. And these very Japanese looking games, very like classic arcade, like the graphics look like they'd be on the Sega Dreamcast, but like everything's very animated and bright and flashy. And you know, we're like, all right, let's try this pirate game. So we sit down to this one, and there's just a coin jammed in the slot that I can't get out, and I'm like, well, that's why no one was playing the pirate game. So yeah, this whole place is fucking janky as shit. This is why arcades are dead, because none of them fucking work. And I've had this experience that, like, most arcades I've been to are jank, but this one's, like, extra jank, you know? So we're like, oh my fucking god. By the way, tickets had come out of we got some tickets from the Space Invaders game, but the thing about the tickets here is that they kind of have, like, cut, you know, because, you know, normally when you get tickets at a place like this, they're like foldable, you know, they're cut at a certain place, and you fold them up, and so you have like a little nice chunk of tickets. But the tickets here, the folds are inconsistent, and they're not like obvious. So I'm like sitting here trying to find the folds to fold up these tickets, but they're all like folded in slightly different spots, and it just has like this just fucking horribly janky looking thing. But like what it turns out is that the tickets aren't even measured by like how many there are physically. It just prints like little barcodes along the ticket. So like if you get a string of tickets, it's just how many barcodes there are, not how many individual tickets. So basically you're meant to keep them as a string, I guess. I don't know if this is an older or newer style of ticket than what I'm used to, but they're pretty fucking bad. Like they're super thin pieces of paper. So anyways, we're continuing around this place. We play, I want to say, we play skee ball. It's the shittiest skee ball I've ever played. Like, the balls are these big white balls that are, like, a little too big for skee ball balls. And, like, the course is not super long, but it's really lumpy. Like, at the very end, where you're supposed to shoot the ball up, like, it's not smooth enough. So you can't get, like, a good shot. So the skee ball is fucking, again, janky. Like, oh, what the fuck else did we play? Oh, we played one, there was one awesome game, which was, like, the snowmobile game, where basically, I mean, first of all, this actually doesn't make any sense, because it's two motorcycles. Like, I thought it was a motorcycle game, because there was a pair of motorcycles, these big orange motorcycles, but then we get in the game, and it's a game where you're playing on a snowmobile. So the actual physical game looks nothing like the game that you're playing. But anyways, it was cool. It was a fucking rad snowmobile game. It's one of those where like everything's fucking extreme. You're busting through trees and going off these insane ramps and doing all these tricks and shit. And it was pretty fun. That was probably the most fun game that we played out of there. And then we only had 2 coins left, so, because we only put in $5, because we were like, we're obviously not going to be in here all night. So there was this Ice Age game, and, like, it was set up like an ice hockey game. Like, it's a 2-sided table. And so I'm thinking, oh, is this ice hockey? Like, and she was like, no, just play one player of whatever the fuck this game is. And I was like, okay. So this game is, there's 5 plastic acorns on my side of the table, right? There's like 5 acorns in a line, and you've got a mallet. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a smack the acorns game. Like, maybe they're going to light up and I hit them. And the game, I put in the coins, and it's like, okay, smash the ice so that the squirrel can get his acorn or whatever. And I was like, okay. The game starts, and immediately the ice just smashes itself. Like, you get 3 smashes, and the first one just happens by itself. So then I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck just happened, so I'm going to smack these acorns. So I just smack the acorns a little bit, and I get like a little crack, and then I smack the acorns again, and there's a bigger crack, and it's like, there you go, you get 6 tickets. I was like, what the fuck is this game? What is this? It's a game, it looks like an ice hockey table, and there's ice on the screen that the game is, but what you do is you smack these 5 plastic acorns. First of all, why are there 5 of them? If it's like a strength test game, why not just have one big acorn? Why is it set up like an ice hockey table? How do you play 2-player of this? What is the fucking point? Why did it auto-smash itself when I first started the game? I just had so many questions. So many fucking questions. I didn't understand what the fuck I was doing. So we take up all our tickets, and there's a ticket machine. Thank God. Because, like, the way the folds are and everything, there's no way you could just count these tickets. So we go to the ticket machine, we feed them all in, and it prints out a little thing. It says we have 52 tickets. Kind of impressive. It's a lot of tickets for the amount of games we played. So we go up to the counter, and we're like, we're going to get some dumb little trinkets for this. And immediately we're drawn to a bouncy ball. That's 40 tickets. So we get a cool little, crystal-y bouncy ball. But then I notice there's this little tub of what at first looks like army dudes. Like little plastic army dudes. and there's green and orange ones. And then I look at it closer, and they are fucking Zaku's. They are Zaku's from the Mobile Suit Gundam series. The green robot. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google a Zaku. It is a fucking Zaku toy. They're only 10 points each. 10 tickets. And they've got orange and green Zaku's. Like, obviously off-brand. Like, they're not, I don't know, maybe they're not. Maybe they're real, I don't fucking know. But it's a fucking Zaku toy. Like, clearly. It doesn't quite look right. It looks a little too thin and tall, but, like, it is unmistakably a Zaku because it's got the helmet that only a Zaku has and some of the same armor. So, here you go. I'm like, oh, I have to have that. Like, what are the fucking odds that this random fuck-off arcade, amongst, like, the toys that are, like, silly bands and, you know, like, just nondescript, like, there's one that's, like, a little cookie-shaped keychain that is also a flashlight, you know? Like, that's the kind of toys that are in here. And then there's just a little Zaku army dude. What in the fuck is it doing there? I was so fucking blown away. I was like, this was worth the price of, like, I mean, we had enough fun with those games that it was pretty much worth $5 anyways. You know, I had a good time with the Space Invaders for a minute and a half and the one round of riding motorcycle toys and the shitty skee ball. It was worth it for the meme. You know, it was worth laughing. Oh, there was also a Kung Fu Panda game. That was kind of cool. It was a Kung Fu Panda game where it's like there's 6 like buttons that you're meant to punch, and basically like you know, Kung Fu Panda is in the middle of the screen, and like these a watermelon will show up in like the top right. You got to punch the top right sensor, and we had seen these 2 little girls who were playing the game before us, who were each playing one side. Like they were each playing on 3 buttons. So we decided to do the same thing. So, you know, we got two players for the price of 1 playing this 6-arm punch game where we each punch half. That was a pretty fun game. I love any game that involves punching is automatically amazing, you know. It's not as good as the Fist of the North Star game, but it's obviously from the same camp. That was a cool one. But anyways, between those games and finding a fucking off-brand tiny Army Man Zaku toy, I would say it was well worth the $5 and half an hour spent in that arcade room. You know, perhaps worth even more than the $17 worth of putt-putt that we played as well. Although the second half of the putt-putt was fun. I like mini golf. It's a game that I think everyone is somewhat competent at. You know, like, it's hard to be bad at mini golf, and you can be. Like, there's some holes where we went over the limit. Like, you get 5 tries, and if you can't get it in 5 strokes, you're canceled. And so sometimes that would happen. But most of the time, we're on par, you know? And it's like, yeah, it's a really satisfying feeling when you get it, when you feel competent at something, you know? You get it in 2 strokes, and you hear that little noise. I don't know how to make it with my mouth. The little sound that the ball makes when it falls in the cup. It's really satisfying. So yeah, that was the mini golf story. Finding the Zaku was really, that was when I decided this was gonna be on the 2 weeks review. Like, I thought about it, but then, like, that was what clinched it. Like, okay, this is a story now. Now that there's a fucking Zaku involved. So yeah, fun night.